The topic for today's webinar, friends, is post-COVID family business strategies. Friends, this webinar is being brought to you by IHRDI Foundation, which is Inclusive Human Resource Development Initiative. This is an initiative of like-minded professional people who joined together during the post-COVID days since last 1 year to bring about awareness into the society on very, very burning issues. And you will be very delighted to know that this is the 55th in the series webinar. Professor Vipin Gupta is a professor of management and a co-director at Center for Global Management in the California State University, San Bernardino, in the United States of America. Professor Gupta is a PhD from Wharton Business School, and prior to that, he's MBA and postgraduate diploma in the management side from IIM Ahmedabad, and he's a gold medalist. And Professor Gupta is very much involved into teaching, research, publications, and he has, to his credit, more than 118 academic articles in various national, international journals, books, magazines, and he's also published more than 25 books. Rather of late, Professor Gupta has come out with a 12-book project, and he's put the name as Vipin, VIPIN, and the details are vastly integrated processes inside nature. And I had the opportunity to speak to him at length about this. Basically, he is trying to bring in the ancient wisdom of the traditional India from all spheres, from the religious, from the spiritual, from the metaphysical sphere into the light. And he's coming out with the 12-book project. Rather, I am pleased to share that he's bringing about one book, one per month, and having it published. And his books are also available in the Amazon, Flipkart. And just recently, Professor Gupta has been featured as a businessman in news in the July edition of Business India. So welcome, Professor Gupta, and I hope with your credentials and with a lot of experiences into the line, the participants will be gaining a lot of enlightenment from you. And further, I am further very thankful to you. It's around 12 o'clock night in the United States of America, and you're still awake for us. For us, though it's an afternoon, but hats off to you for this. And I'm sure our participants and a lot of knowledge will be created out of this talk that we are in. So friends, the second panelist for the day is Mr. Manmohan Singh Kohli ji. Mr. Kohli is presently the Chief Executive Officer, Aroma Group, Aroma Hospitality Group, Chandigarh. And rather, he is a pioneer in the field of hospitality business. Aroma happens to be one of the oldest hotels that we have in India. And he's done a lot of innovation into this category, wherein he's co-branded his unit with the good brands like McDonald's, Starbucks, etc., which I think many in the hospitality business is still to do. And he's also ventured now into the infra creation, wherein with the entry, and he's tied up with the companies like ABRL, Reliance, and Tata's. And Mr. Gupta, Mr. Kohli is also very active in the field of industries. He is the past chairman of CII Chandigarh, and he is also the co-chair tourism in the regional council of CII. Mr. Kohli is in the board of IHRDI, which is the nodal body of the hospitality industry. And further, Mr. Kohli is also on the Punjab Governor's Advisory Committee, which advises the government on various issues related to governance. And he is also actively involved with various NGOs in the field. And he is an avid sports person, likes to keep fit by playing tennis and by jogging. And apart from Mr. Kohli, his family supports him into this venture. His son, his daughter, and though the moral support from Madam Kohli also, who's an academician like us, having retired from the Government College, Punjab, as the principal into the psychology domain. So very, very warm welcome, Kohli Saab, and I hope we have a very, very good mix of panelists today. The research aspects by Professor Gupta, and the practical aspects by Mr. Kohli. And then I think it justifies the topic also, because post-COVID, we have to come out with new business strategies. So what should be those business strategies in terms of research and conceptualization, and how they should be taken forward would come out with their experiences. So friends, not taking long, the SARI team that will follow is that Professor Gupta will come up first around 25 to 30 minutes, and thereafter Mr. Kohli will come up, and then once they finish it off, we'll have the question answer round, whatever time is left, and maybe if you have certain observations, all dear participants, you can forward it into the chat box. Certain questions are there, please start forwarding in the chat box, and we can take it in the end. So not taking much long between you and my panelists, I request Professor Gupta to come up first and to speak about his own experiences and research into the field of family business, especially related to the post-COVID strategies. So welcome again, Professor Gupta, and the stage is all yours now, sir.
Sorry, thank you, Dr. Chaddha, for that introduction. Let me share. Sorry. Share your entire screen. Okay. Are you able to see what I'm sharing, the PowerPoint? Are you able to see my PowerPoint?
Yes, sir, it's come.
Okay,
yes,
perfect.
Sir. It's visible, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So, first of all, it's important when we are looking at family businesses, whether we can bring order to chaos that the family businesses are currently facing through simplicity of reason and intuition, because that's what can get the family businesses forward in a very rapid way. And if you look at this row, of course, if it looks kind of very messy, and one might say that, okay, we need to invite a lot of experts, look at a different kind of resources, trying to manage that. But there's a simple solution that comes if we sit back, introspect, and if we let our mind be open to possibility of how to disentangle the things which seem very complex and chaotic. And so that's the idea, that can we use the wisdom that we have and the modern science, and can we take that forward based on our reason and intuition to solve the challenges that post-COVID family businesses are facing. So there's a concept in Indian tradition called Trika. Trika means a threefold sequence that repeats the creation, creator, and creature. So the threefold sequence that repeats over time, and that manifests every reality. And in my research, essentially kind of the three streams of work that I have done, that I built on in today's conversation. First, there's a Project Globe, that's global organizational behavior and effectiveness research done on 20,000 middle-level managers, more than 1,000 CEOs in 62 countries. So this book was published and is internationally renowned. And I did some 6 additional books on strategic management. Then another 11 set books I did on family businesses in 10 cultural regions of the world, like Anglo region, Latin America, Latin Europe, and so on, and one on gender. And we call that the CASE project. And that's really the family businesses, as we know, they are nurturer of both culture and nature. So the family aspects is nurturing both elements. The third is what Dr. Chaddha just mentioned about Project Vipin, and that goes by my name, but it's really about self-discovery. As we know that the wisdom of India is about self-discovery, and the reason why the focus is on self-discovery is because we need to understand and develop our essential nature, because that essential nature is the essential nature of each and every element, whether it's you or a animal or a bird or a atom. So every element has the same essential nature, but different elements of that essential nature manifest over time. and therefore that gives a different quality to different kind of entities or elements that we see. So it's important. The goal of this project is to take the wisdom of India forward. So it's not to repeat what has been said in the past, but to take that wisdom forward, to address the issues left behind by science for Mother Nature to solve. As a scientist pivot their increasing wealth, and we know that if there's increasing demand for science and decreasing demand for everything else, then scientists make a lot of money, and that's what is happening. The world's wealth stratification that has happened in the last 20 years is unprecedented, where the 10% of people now hold 90% of wealth, because there's increasing demand for people, and the wealth that the scientists are saying that use our knowledge and pay us because our knowledge is more valuable rather than your intuition and reason. And therefore, the scientists are now able to pivot into more esoteric pursuits such as space travel, wishing immortality, for managing future life on Earth. And therefore, we need to find solutions that science is not able to address, given increasing challenges we are facing, whether it's environment, whether it's social stratification, whether it's mental issues. So the issues are growing rapidly, and science is moving to space. They are not focused on ground realities. And therefore, we need to address that gap. So 3 essential elements for bringing order to family business strategies. I'm going to use 3 things which have been mentioned in our wisdom: Prabhu Kripa, Guru Kripa, and Swayam Kripa. So those are 3 kripas that are needed for success in anything. So if you're talking about family business strategies, those 3 kripas are very critical. Now let's understand what these kripas are in the context of my research. And I'm going to first explain some things and connect a lot of concepts which have been given in wisdom in science, and then start talking about the energy values to self-substantiate what I'm saying. So what is Prabhu Kripa? It is the inflow of known reality due to a depression in the absolute. Prabhu is absolute. Absolute is whatever is present. That's absolute. With COVID, what happens is there's a depression in whatever is present. So as a result, the family businesses start getting information about known reality of challenges, whether it's a breakdown in supply chain, whether it's health of the family members, or some of the family members, unfortunately, are no longer there. So there are many issues. It could be the customers don't have the money. So there are many known reality aspects that you could use using intuition reason. You can figure out that these are challenges you're going to face in a pandemic like this, and that information starts coming in, right? And so the Prabhu Kripa is that you get to understand the situation reality quickly. And if you don't, then of course you can't act fast enough and in a wise enough way. And the term that is used in terms of Trika concept is para, because it's transcendental information. Because it's transcendental, our sages in the past have called it superior element, because it's something that is beyond what we can know right now. But of course, if we use wisdom, if we use our intuition reason, in that case, we would have known that reality. In that case, that shouldn't have been a superior element. But we make it a superior element because we are not confident about ourselves, and therefore we want Prabhu Kripa to help us understand the gravity of the situation. And once we get that Kripa, the transcendental element that creates increasing order. What increasing order, ascending order means inflow of information that creates more discipline and gives more direction to whatever we are doing, right? And therefore, we are able to talk vacha, because everything mansa, vacha, karma. So vacha means that we start talking about the challenges that we are facing. And we are bound by the order that we are being, the order here means universe. The whole universe is now creating that challenge for us. and we know that it's beyond our capability, beyond the capability of the family, and therefore we want to talk about that, trying to find solutions for others, and trying to help get help of everybody in getting that. So that's challenge mindset solution. The second is a Guru Kripa, and what Guru Kripa means is that the family has a lot of wisdom, as Dr. Chaddha also mentioned, and once you know that there is a problem, then from family there's outflow of wisdom due to depression of the reproductive force of the absolute, because now you cannot sort of reproduce whatever was already happening in the business. And the Guru force is a reproductive force. The gravitational energy is something that you reproduce again and again, because that's the wisdom. And unlike the science, which says that if you reproduce something, that destroys over time and it gets decreasing returns, the wisdom is something that you can reproduce without destruction. Okay, so that's a reproductive force. A guru can be there forever. That energy that you can reproduce, that whatever guru has taught you, it doesn't experience entropy over time, right? So Indian wisdom shows that that wisdom, if it is that can be reproduced without entropy. So that's still that's called apara. Because what's happening here is the business who's benefiting from that outflow, that is entangled with the family because it's dependent on the family's wisdom. Family has become the guru, right? And so in our scriptures, it's called apara, which is inferior element, because dependent on something. Dependent on the knowledge which came from pra. So because it's dependent, what happens is that, of course, over time, if you reproduce the same thing, you realize that you get bored, and there are other kind of elements which happen, and therefore over time there's a descending order. You no longer want to rely on the order which was provided by Prabhu, and which the guru is teaching you to use that wisdom. And ultimately, you get to your action, free from the order. Okay, and so that's where the opportunity mindset comes in. That yes, I want to become my own guru. I want to take this my destiny in my own hands, and let's look at this opportunity, and let's look at that. But we forget that the guru is the one who gave that wisdom, so that it creates that enlightenment and illumination in us. Okay, the family gave the freedom to the business so that the business gets enlightened, that it should not depend on the family. Family was just providing a seed capital. Okay, so if the child becomes dependent on the mother and the father, then the child will never grow. The child has to realize at some time that the parents are just providing initial support, and it's a seed capital. Right. So when that happens, then you appreciate that the Prabhu has played the role and the Guru has played the role, and you can move forward to swam. And that's the swam is the flow of consciousness program due to depression in I. What is I? I is formed through infinite networking system, because you're networking all the knowledge which has been created in outside you, right? And so that creates that I. And once you realize that whatever knowledge you are using as an I through infinite networking system that you have, it's not solving the problem, because what you need to do is you need to shift that networking system. So as new children come, new family businesses come, new opportunities come, you cannot be stuck in your current relationships, right? And that's where that flow of consciousness programs comes in, because if we have a consciousness of a particular system, and if we believe that that system is going to give us lifelong benefits, that's where we run into problems. So we need that resiliency. And resiliency does not come by focusing on what we have right now. It locally, it comes from focusing on the entire universe. Okay, so that's where the order comes in. So para is the third element, which is the ulterior, the former who bears the cost of moving farther from the absolute to enjoy order's perpetuating value. So the family is the former element, Business is the latter element in family business. And so the former, maybe the father who set the business up, that person has to bear the psychological cost of moving farther from the present of the business in order to enjoy the perpetuating value the universe is able to create with the business. Okay, so when business get connected with the entire universe, that's where the horizontal order, the perpetuating value without entropy kind of comes in. And that really is a mental thing that the owners and the family members have to shift from controlling order to enjoying order. Okay, so that's a life lesson mindset. So let's look at in the Prabhu Kripa. So how that happens is limiting the family interface. So if family sort of give freedom to business, then who is Prabhu? The Prabhu is the entire world. So the business can then start taking benefit of the entire world, and that's called Arohana. And the energy value that I quantify that is 105. Why 105? Because what's happening is family has a past, present, future. Business has a past, present, future, right? And those family and business are multiplying their future, their respective futures, in 4 directions: east, west, north, and south. So that's 10. And then you are perpetuating half of it, okay, the visible half, as an order. So that's why it's 105. And ascending order is a function of 2 things. One, separation energy, because when you separate things, so you separate family and business. So that separation creates energy, and that energy, what that creates is 81. What is 81? So again, Kaf, you had this, what is 8? 8 is Kudrat, it's Mother Nature. And 8 comes from 3 dimensions of time, 4 dimensions of space, 1 dimension of entity, the family business as an entity. So you're separating family, all these 8 elements, and what you're focusing on is just business now. Okay, so you're limiting the family interface, and you have created this 8 elements, and your forward moving is, you have separated the business. So that's where the separation energy is 81. And that actually can be seen as a profit. Labh, which is also 81, because what you do is you have now focused on your business, therefore you can profit. It's also loss, because you are focused on business, family is not there, right? But where the family comes in is as an entity, the family business as an entity. So that's past, present, future, family and business. So that's 6. And then family business as a whole, you expand into 4 dimensions. So 6 times 4 is 24, Hasti, and that's the entity energy. So 81 plus 24 is ascending order, Arohana. Now, in my research, this was I published about 12 years back. It came in Family Business Research, a review. So 1, regulated boundary. So whether you regulate the boundary between kind of families and businesses so that the information, space, and resources that flow from family to business, it's regulated in terms of whether your focus is on business reputation or not. And secondly, whether the family business breaks out to access resources outside the family's network, it's not tied to only family's networks for unique values. So now you say that, okay, what are these unique values? And how the ascending order takes place. So ascending order in family businesses take place through unique values. Those, I call them Shini values. Shini means sentient, conscious. So you're making decisions in a conscious way. You don't have to rely on consciousness of stakeholders to decide what decisions you're going to make. If you're conscious, you can be spontaneous. You can be responsive to situation. You can be resilient. And what Shini means is 6 elements. First, S means social well-being. H means human well-being. E means ecological well-being. Second, E means economic well-being. Then national well-being and psychological well-being. So all these 6 elements You are able to consciously make decisions in a family environment, which you cannot in a business environment, right? And the energy value of Ojas is 189. Why? Because the 6 elements times 3-dimensional time is 18, and you are perpetuating them. So half value of that is 9, so 189. Okay, so Ojas is 189. So now why? Essentially, kind of what you're doing is you're overriding the COVID discontinuity by diversifying the infinite cost of exploring solutions to global stakeholders who are seeking to enjoy the unique values the families offer. So now international stakeholders, they are very much interested. They give a lot of premium if you are able to market to them that you are creating social value, you're creating human value, you're creating ecological value, you're creating economic value, national value, psychological value. If you are able to communicate that to international customers, you can get 81 times more. Okay, according to research here, the data account shows you can get 81 times more whatever you're earning, right? Because that's the profit, 81 times. And that's what the infinite, you can, if you do that in an infinite way, because what's happening is that you can do this again and again, right? Because you can transfer all the costs to everybody else. And infinite means tamas. Tamas is 185. That's 189 minus 4. What's happening? What's 4? 4 is consciousness of past, present. Sorry, of the 4 dimensions of space. So you have what you have done is you have globalized that consciousness to the customers, to other stakeholders who are interested in the family values, and that allows the family businesses to become dharma bhakshak. What is dharma bhakshak? Right now, the dharma is to destroy societies, to destroy humanity, to destroy ecology, to destroy economies, to destroy nations, to destroy psychology, and go to space. So it's very important that family businesses become dharma bhakshak, so that they can now create a new dharma, that the family business dharma, they can do dharma raksha of that, and then become dharma sthapak of a new religion that is a conscious focus. Okay, the Guru Kripa, it's about liberating the business interface. So once family has given liberation, the business has to take that liberty. So that creates descending order, because they have to find that unique spot where they decide that they have to now look at the knowledge and intuition reason of the entire universe. Okay, so the family becomes the guard, the rakshak. Okay, and the business becomes the front of the scenes guardian. Okay, so Diana, it's called Ratna Sambhava, and that's 91. Then there's an in the scenes guardianship that's done by the family. Okay, so that's a guru, the wisdom that family uses, while the business is the front of the scenes guardian of the guardianship that the family is providing, and the knowledge internationally the business is able to secure. So again, the 3 dimensions are organizational professionalism, the extent to which family business employs professional managers and methods within the organization. And that would happen if business is the front of the scenes guardian, looking at new methods and new things which are emerging, and able to include that in the business. Regulated family power, it has a structure that protects it from the dynamics of family. So again, in the scenes guardianship allows the family as a whole, as a unit, to protect the family business from the dynamics of the family. Then finally, competitive succession, the extent to which the succession process, including employment leadership, is based on merit and competence, right? And again, if there's a guard that family business is working as through joint synergies between the family and business, then that's going to happen automatically. Now, what is the in the scenes wisdom? That element is a guider element. So guru, the guider element, again, 6 elements there. It's a reproductive power. As I mentioned, you reproduce those guider elements, and that's what is called gravitational power. The energy value of graviton, gravitational energy, reproductive power, reproductive energy, etheric energy, it's all 100. So what is the in the scenes wisdom? Guider means globalization. So if business becomes liberated by family, business can become global. Business can also will have unique values because we already discussed the family has endured those unique values in the business. Then business will also be inclusive because it has to take care of the family. It will also be diverse because it has to kind of take the benefits that the family is offering, and it has to provide diversity elements outside of the family. It will be engaged, right, in the welfare of the family, the welfare of the others, because if business has to take resources, diverse resources from all over the world, then it needs to be engaged citizen. And if it is engaged citizen, then it will have responsibility. So that R is responsibility. Okay. So that's the wisdom, that you globalize yourself, you maintain your uniqueness, you have inclusion of what is inside you, you have diversity of what's outside you, you engage everybody both inside and outside, and you take responsibility. Okay, so those are 6 elements which constitute the guider element and forms the part of a guru, and what guru can teaches us. So why? Because you are able to then ride the COVID discontinuity of the business as usual. All of the family businesses have seen this breakdown in families and breakdown in business networks. So if you have already learned now something which has never happened in your life, where everything broke down, if you were able to still maintain your family business, or if you had courage to start a new family business in this environment, then that's the courage, that's the intuition, that's the reason that you need to continue. And continuous element is Rajas element, because what you're doing is you're continuing over the 4 space elements and 1 entity, 5, over 3 dimensions of time. And we know that the role of Raja is to continue. It's a dharam raksha. Okay. So this is the dharam that you have to protect. Your resilience, the courage, the confidence, when everything breaks down, you are still able to survive. That's the dharam which is of relevance, not the dharam where you're destroying societies, destroying humanity, destroying ecology, and then you are buying from those entities because you want to send them to space so that they can become immortal, so that you and your children can die because you have left with no income, right? So that's not the dharam that we want to protect, that we have to destroy. But this is the dharam that we have to protect. Okay, then the third one is Swam Kripa, flow of consciousness programs, and how, again, here you do Swam Kripa by catalyzing the joint family and business interface. And that creates that horizontal order of perpetuating value, Saranyu. That is a function of the consciousness that you create through your conscious decisions. So the conscious decisions that you make, that becomes consciousness. Okay, so when you reflect on them, when others reflect on them, that becomes consciousness. What is consciousness? Soul. Soul is consciousness. It's the same thing. It's our personal force which is left out. Okay, we leave as we, so it's the path that we create, and through our conscious behaviors, and the person that continues. So that's what is perpetuating value, the consciousness of our new dharma, of courage and confidence, of being able to tackle all the problems when the science has failed, when the entire world came to stop. You relied on your intuition, reason to succeed. So that's the consciousness that you have to hold on to. Okay, that's what is going to give you the courage and confidence to take the world. And the person who you were, or who you are, and who will you remain, who has made that decision in a conscious way and is carrying forward that consciousness. Okay, so now we know that in family businesses, women are the protectors of this consciousness that the families have. They are the ones who nurture and the children, and they are the confidants of their husbands, and they have all the knowledge about kind of the things which happen in family businesses and families, and they are the ones who, if they are in the front and there's a gender-centered leadership, then the family business will succeed more. operational resiliency. Family business has access to reservoir of family resources to weather temporary crisis, overcome more enduring challenges. It's not without patient, loyal capital. So here, men oftentimes have that patience because they know that the entire family depends on them. Okay. Of course, what I'm talking about is a very male-dominated perspective, but that's what the perspective is. And that's where the third element comes in, where we begin to shift that male-dominated perspective. That family business evolution is founded on the co-specialized and dedicated spatial resources. So it's really about the strategic linkages that you form and what expectation that context has, what affordances that context offers. That's what is going to kind of allow you. So when we talk about these resources, they're called endowments. They're based on deep localized experiences. And if endowments require us to cut trees, then we know that, okay, women cannot cut. You will send men who have muscle power to cut it. Okay, but if you say that, yes, that tree is provided and you need to use fruits of that, then the women can also be in the front. Okay, so it's really about how do you approach those endowments and what dimensions of endowments you perceive, experience, and then you decide to kind of multiply and apply that. Okay, so what are these endowments? Interestingly, when I looked at it, the Hindi translation of endowments is Dahej. And the energy value of that is 10. And what Dahej is, it's Mother Nature, Kudrat plus universe, the order which has been created, the Brahman. And Mother Nature and universe is the endowment that the families get as Dahej from Mother Nature. As Mother Nature comes in each of the family in the form of children. And the families transfer that Dahej, that endowment, to the next generation. Right? And the way we do that is through our divine energy. And divine is the other element. So we all know about 5 tattvas. And I show in my work that Shini, Guidance, Divine are additional 3 tattvas. And that creates an octave of tattvas. So octave because Mother Nature has 8. And therefore, everything has 8 elements. And this elements are kind of hidden in Indian wisdom, but we need to kind of focus on them in terms of Shini, conscious, Ojas, then the Guida, Guru, and the divine, Divya, which is also time. And Divya energy, 10. So we need to use divine. What is divine? Conscious determination. I for imagination, V for virtue. Then I for intuition. Then if you have an intuitive approach, then it creates a natural excellence. And so that's what it is, that you use nature to create excellence. Okay. So the dharma that you have figured out, that you need to be confident, you need to have courage, you need to move on with your life, and you need to be on the path of action. That's what is going to energize you. That's what is going to take you forward. And therefore, you consciously plan the programs for discontinuing how family business operated in the past, while continuing how it is surviving by adding futuristic solutions for the endowment growth. Okay, and how do we grow endowments? That's through discontinuous element. The meaning of discontinuous is sattva, and the energy value of that is 1, 1, 1, 1. That means in each of the space dimensions, we are creating a new time, a new future. It's not restricted by present, it's not restricted by past. And therefore, it's 1, 1, 1, 1. And then we become dharmasthhapak. Right? That the fact that the dharma that we conceived during COVID, which allowed us to succeed when everybody failed, when the science failed, when our wisdom failed to protect us, when everybody would have said that close your family business, we used intuition, reason to succeed, discontinuing from the traditions that we were using in the past, discontinuing from whatever we were doing in the present. And that's the dharam sthapna that we have to do. And that's the role of the kind of the guru. By focusing on raksha, it creates enlightenment in the raja. Okay, by making each child a raja. That no kind of, I need to be a guru. I don't need to be a follower of the guru. The guru is teaching me this only so that I can be the guru that I am following. Okay, so we say that rasi rasi aisa ras, raso raso aisa ras, mil jaye rasiya reh jaye ras. Okay, so the person, so gurutva aisa gurutv, mil jaye guru reh jaye gurutv. Okay, so it's not important, sufficiently important to follow what the guru is saying. We need to be guru ourselves by developing that potential in ourselves with the direction that the guru has provided us. So now let me quickly show you some data. So first, the Prabhu. That's an omnipotent element, a Sarv Shakti man, and that's a super guardian. And the hypothesis is that when Swam I of each entity in the society acts omnipotent, it limits both inflow and outflow of the conscious energy. When we feel that everybody feels that we are omnipotent, we know everything. Okay, so then that becomes a power distance. We create a power distance, and power distance, I'm saying, it has a negative effect in the first two set of dimensions that we discussed. The guru is essentially kind of creates omniscience. It creates omniscient guardian, Trikaldarshi. And so Tvam, not Swam, Tvam is Almighty Creator. That's a primordial astrological force. Almighty Creator is called Navgraha. Okay, the 9 planets. That's the Almighty Creator, because those 9 planets are the ones which have created kind of everything that we see today. So when Almighty Creator uses wisdom, that means reproductive energy, gravitational energy, to bring certainty in the present for charting the future, because they're producing the same thing. Okay, the time follows an order, so that creates certainty. We know that next year kind of we'll have the same kind of scenario in terms of time. Of course, kind of, with a modification that we do now about the future, and it liberates the past bonds. It furthers the outflow of conscious energy. Okay, so when there's a certainty in the present and liberation from past, then outflow of conscious energy begins. In-group collectivism has a negative effect. As I said, if you are stuck with a family and the networks that family already has, it has a negative effect. Uncertainty avoidance has a positive effect, and a future orientation has a positive effect on these dimensions. So actually, kind of this is the data that we collected. And based on content analysis of 120 articles, and you will see that the data support that. So the power distance, and this is data across 10 clusters of nations, 60 nations. So power distance has a negative effect on the ability of families to liberate to businesses, and for the businesses to enjoy that liberation. If there's an in-group collectivism in the society, if there's a power distance in the society. Okay, but if there's future orientation, uncertainty avoidance in the society, then business can take that liberty. Business can be futuristic with that certainty. Okay. Finally, conclusions about the family business strategies. So the omni-permeating element, is SWAM. So when the family is functioning well, and the business is functioning well, all the members are involved, the consciousness programs flow without our consciousness. So you can see, in terms of gender egalitarian performance orientation has no effect. So when things work well, it will leave no effect. It will not form a consciousness. There will be no force there. And in terms of Almighty Creator, so when chastisement renders I unimportant, when the things are working well, I is not important. I seeks to become the devil. Devil is a sura for creating urgency to change in Tao, which is Almighty Creator, by discontinuing the wisdom. It helps create VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity, that brings importance for a behind-the-scenes scientist, Asura, to become the Satan. What is Satan? Is a Saturn. So Saturn, as a negative force, then takes the past of everybody and begins shaping the Navgraha. Okay, So it's us who shape Saturn through our discordant energy by not having confidence in us, by having confidence in a scientist who wants to go to space rather than to support you. And then that influences astrological planets, and then we become bound by astrological energies. Okay, so that's really what my work is. Sorry, I took a lot of time.
Right. Thank you, Professor Gupta, for a very comprehensive and rather, I suppose, very interesting research on the topic. I think based on a lot of data, and though the time is short, I'm sorry for that. But with time, I think this becomes a very comprehensive and very enlightening kind of research on family businesses and certain new parameters which has been added by you in terms of adding it to the spirituality path, to the ancient wisdoms that we get from the traditional texts and other scripts therein. And so, friends, now we have some time for some questions and queries that we may take. So you can just post your queries in the chat. So I'll request Professor Vipin Gupta to talk about this VUCA factor, and how the businesses are being more affected, and some solution also, because I know he's talked about all this during his comprehensive presentation, but just in a nutshell, Professor Gupta, kindly oblige with this, the VUCA factor and how family businesses are affected, and the solutions therein, what needs to be done as regards. Yeah, sir.
Sure. Thank you. First of all, Mr. Kolka, wonderful comments and wonderful experiences. Thank you so much for sharing that. VUCA, as we know, it's a term which has been used to say volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Right. And so science has popularized that. And really the idea that comes from is in the past, scientists thought that science is deterministic. So we were taught that science is deterministic. So whatever science teaches, there's a certainty in it, in a way. So that was Newtonian science. Since the time of Einstein, over the last 100 years, the scientists are saying that no, science is not certainty. There is no certainty in science. Why? Because each person has their own interpretation of reality. So for that matter, earlier, the idea was that ultimately everybody gets zero profits, because whatever you invest, somebody has to incur the losses, and so in the end, everybody has the equal profits and losses. But now the idea becomes, if you are a first mover, if you are a leader, in that case, you can enjoy increasing returns, but the people who don't move, they will end up with huge losses. Okay. So the whole idea of increasing inequities is based on that science, that the people who are fast moving, who have already resources, they can grow more resources. But that also contaminates and pollutes our consciousness by making us dependent on those resources, rather than endowments that Mother Nature has gifted us, each one of us. So if all of us want that now we want resources to grow more resources, in that case, it creates inertia in us, because we believe that we don't have the resources. It creates uncertainty in us. It creates volatility in us. So what science is doing, it's destroying the confidence that family businesses had as they worked for thousands of years so successfully. And therefore, because how science is done, science reviews the empirical evidences, and based on that, they feed back that information. So if the work is done based on Western research, they'll feed back the work that Western experiences are, and they will say that even people in India should do that. And then we say, wow, it's a unique experience, therefore we are going to pay you. So you create increasing demand for management scientists. They become richer, you become poorer. And that's what is happening right now. Right. So that really what we need to do is we need to first understand that neither the old science, where Newton said everything is deterministic, is correct, because deterministic means fatalistic. It means that you don't have the power. And probabilistic means that only some people have power. Okay.
Right.
So both those interpretations are problematic. And our ancient wisdom kind of helps us understand that, yes, they're problematic, but then we need to take that forward by saying that, yes, we have the power to create and craft our own future by not focusing on limitations and challenges that we have, but on the gifts that Mother Nature has given us and using those gifts to make things happen. And if nobody is supporting us, if we don't have the money to pay the management scientist, we need to have confidence that Mother Nature has given us all the unique gifts that are needed for us to succeed as much as anybody else can. So if we have that confidence, then there's no reason that we have volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity.
Right. Thank you, Professor Gupta. There's one further question coming from Dr. Rajesh Pandey. And he says that, while the second or third generation entrepreneur, and because he's into the teaching, so they say that, while after their studies, when they join the business, what things they think that they have inherited the business. Now it will go on and on. So what things should both the parents as well as the second generation or the third generation entrepreneur keep in mind so that the business not only becomes sustainable but it grows? Now we come to an end of this wonderful webinar and sum up what transpired and a brief summary of what we've discussed. Basically, Professor Gupta has talked about the three dimensions of Trika. Wherein there's Prabhu Kripa, there's Guru Kripa, and Swayam Kripa, and all these three variable elements with how they affect the family business, especially with regard to the I and I regarding with regard to the external and to the other environment, and what one can take from that and how it can go about with lot of data and research in more than 60 nations. And then he's very, briefly talked about the VUCA factor and, the certain solutions with this, because business, as you know, has lot of uncertainty. Though there's everything is changing, and the only predictable element is the change. But it is more so in business aspect, because you never know what will happen tomorrow. And again, it the aspect of spirituality, and again I think a lot of emotional quotient rather than the intelligent quotient will help the businesses and the people to survive. Professor Gupta, who now roughly I would be 2 a.m. to roughly 2:15 a.m. at USA, and he is up. So salute and from all of us here. I would also like to thank the lovely audience who joins us day in, day out. There is no compulsion for joining, but I think the very elite participants who join us has helped us to sustain during the last 55 weeks, wherein we have gone on without even a single break. Last 55 weeks, we have gone on to speak about one topic or the other. And I am proud to say that we have created some good content which can be referred now onto the YouTube. And so with this word, we come to an end of this wonderful webinar. I am really once again thankful to Professor Gupta. Till the time we meet next again on a very illustrative and a very informative topic. So goodbye to all of you. Sayonara and namaskar. Thank you.